I remember that night so clearly, like it's carved into my bones. We were all sitting around the dinner table at my brother Greg's place. The plates were full, everyone talking about their day, laughing. I tried to join in, pretend like everything was normal. Lucy sat next to me, her tiny hands barely able to hold the fork. She squirmed in her chair once, twice. I leaned in, brushed her hair back and whispered, "Are you okay, baby?" She just nodded, but there was something tight in her smile. Her eyes kept darting around. Then in the middle of passing the bread, she whispered, "Mommy, it hurts when I sit." My heart dropped. The whole table went silent. Forks stopped clinking. I felt every eye on me, on her. Greg cleared his throat, tried to laugh it off. Kids say the silliest things, huh? But I couldn't. Something twisted deep inside me. A voice. Fear. What does she mean it hurts? Why would it hurt? Lucy fidgeted again. Her small body tensed like she was bracing for something. I put my hand over hers. Tried to steady my breath. Who did this? And why is my baby scared to sit? That night sleep just never came. I tucked Lucy in, kissed her forehead like I always do, and quietly closed her bedroom door. But the moment I lay in my own bed, something inside me wouldn't rest. Like a whisper in the dark that kept growing louder. Her words kept replaying in my head. "Mommy, it hurts when I sit." What does that even mean for a 6-year-old? Was she just being silly? Or was it something worse? I tried brushing it off. Told myself kids say all sorts of things. Maybe she fell at school. Maybe she was just tired. But my gut, it didn't agree. I turned and stared at the ceiling. Every creak of the floor outside made me flinch. Every breath I took felt heavy. My eyes drifted to the baby monitor. She was fast asleep, curled into herself like a little shell. One hand clutching her stuffed elephant. I remembered how she jumped last week when the doorbell rang. Or how she suddenly hated bath time. How she asked if she had to go to Daddy's this weekend. I hadn't connected the dots before. But now, every little thing screamed louder. I got up, tiptoed into her room and sat beside her. I didn't wake her. I just watched. Watched the way her tiny fists were clenched. Watched the slight twitch in her brow, like even in her dreams, she wasn't at peace. My heart broke in silence. And then a thought hit me so hard I almost stopped breathing. Could it be Mark? I hated myself for even thinking it. But I hated myself more for never asking before. For trusting too easily. For ignoring signs I should have seen. I stayed by her side the whole night, afraid to close my eyes. Because once a mother starts doubting her child's safety, there's no going back. The next morning I tried to act normal. I packed Lucy's lunch, tied her shoelaces, and forced a smile every time she looked up at me. But inside my chest was a storm. I kept telling myself, don't scare her. Don't push. Just be gentle. Let her come to you. So after school I did something simple. I spread out her crayons and sketchbooks on the living room rug. Sat down with her. Tried to color like it was just another ordinary day. She giggled when I messed up a rainbow. Gave me hope for a second. Then I asked softly, "Lucy, honey, is there anything you want to tell Mommy? Anything at all?" She went quiet. Eyes darted down. Her crayon pressed hard into the paper until the tip snapped. My stomach clenched. I wanted to scoop her up and beg her to tell me. But I just waited. After a long pause, she whispered, "Mommy, can I not go to Daddy's house this weekend?" Her voice, so tiny, so scared. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Why, baby? Did something happen there?" She shook her head too fast. Her curls bounced around her face. Then her lips started to tremble. She pulled her little elephant close, hugging it so tight like it was the only thing keeping her safe. "Mommy, promise you won't make me go?" That was it. That was all she gave me. But it was enough. Enough to know something was very, very wrong. I pulled her into my lap, felt her tiny heartbeat racing against mine. I whispered into her hair, "You never have to go anywhere you don't feel safe. I promise." But inside my own heart was screaming. What had he done? How long had this been happening? Why didn't I see it sooner? That night, after I tucked her in again, I sat on the bathroom floor and cried. Silent, heaving sobs that I buried into a towel so she wouldn't hear. Because a part of me already knew. I just didn't have the proof. Not yet. It was a Thursday afternoon. Ordinary. Bright sunlight pouring into our small living room. I was picking up Lucy's toys, folding blankets, trying to keep my mind busy so it wouldn't spiral again. That's when I found it, her little purple drawing book, half hidden under the couch. My first instinct was to smile. Lucy loved to draw. It was her own secret world, full of rainbows and happy suns. I sat down, opened the first page, expecting flowers or maybe that elephant she adored. But the page was black. Harsh, angry scribbles of dark crayon tearing through the paper. I flipped to another. There was a small figure in red, curled up in a corner with big blue tears falling down. I turned another page. My hands started to shake. There was a taller figure drawn in brown. Angry eyebrows. Big hands. Standing over the tiny red one. And below it, in shaky, childlike letters, she'd written, "Don't hurt me." I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. It was like every nightmare I'd ever had came alive in those innocent little drawings. Page after page, Lucy's silent screams stared back at me. Pictures of her hiding under beds. Her crying behind doors. A big brown figure always looming close. And suddenly, it wasn't just drawings anymore. It was proof. Proof that something terrible had happened. Proof that my little girl had been living in a fear so deep she could only tell it through colors. I dropped the book. My hands covered my mouth, trying to keep in the sob that wanted to tear through my chest. I grabbed my phone. Dialed Greg. My voice cracked so badly he could barely understand me. "Come over. Now. Please. It's Lucy." Within 15 minutes he was at my door. I showed him the book. He went pale. His fists clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. "Call the police, Alice," he whispered. "Call them right now." My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. But I did it. Dialed 911. Gave them our address. As soon as I hung up, I pulled Lucy into my arms and held her tighter than I ever had. I whispered over and over, "I'm here. I've got you. No one will ever hurt you again." But inside I was bracing for the storm that was about to break. Detective Sarah arrived the very next morning. She didn't look like how I always pictured police officers. No stern face. No cold eyes. She sat across from me at our tiny kitchen table, hands folded, voice calm. "Can you tell me when you first noticed something wrong with Lucy?" she asked gently. My throat burned. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. Tears spilled instead. Sarah waited. Didn't rush me. Just sat there like she had all the time in the world. Finally I whispered, She said it hurts when she sits." Then I found these drawings. I slid Lucy's book across the table. My hands trembled so bad it nearly fell off. Sarah flipped through the pages, her mouth tightening. Her eyes softened though, like she wasn't just seeing evidence, she was seeing my little girl's pain. "We'll get her a specialized child therapist," she said. "Someone trained to help kids open up in safe ways. Is that okay?" I nodded so hard my neck hurt. "Just please find out what happened. I can't keep imagining it." Sarah touched my hand. "I promise, Alice. We'll protect her. And we'll find the truth." Days blurred together. Lucy started visiting a gentle woman named Dr. Patel. Sometimes she'd come home quiet. Sometimes she'd crawl into my lap, clutch me so hard like she was afraid I'd vanish. Meanwhile, rumors started swirling. Mark's family was furious. They called me dramatic. A liar. Said I was poisoning Lucy's mind because I was jealous of Mark moving on. At night I lay awake replaying every birthday party, every handoff at his driveway, every polite smile he gave me. How could I have missed it? How could I have let her go there alone? Greg was my rock. He'd come by every evening just to sit with me. Sometimes we didn't even speak. Just being near someone who believed me, it kept me from shattering. Then one afternoon Sarah called. Her voice was steady, but there was an edge of urgency. "We'd like you to bring Lucy in tomorrow. The therapist believes she's ready to talk more openly." My heart dropped. Relief, fear, dread, all tangled up. "Will it be enough?" I whispered. "That's what we're hoping for, Alice. This could be the step that finally brings everything into the light." I wish I could tell you that once Lucy spoke up, everything got easier. That the world wrapped us in safety. That justice moved swiftly. But it didn't. Court was brutal. Standing there under those bright lights, People whispering, lawyers firing questions at me like bullets. My hands wouldn't stop sweating. I could barely keep my voice from cracking. They asked about my past with Mark. About how many times I'd argued with him. If I ever threatened to keep Lucy away. If maybe, just maybe, I was inventing this out of revenge. Every word felt like a slap. I wanted to scream. My child is hurting and you're asking me about old fights? Then it was Lucy's turn. She was so small up there, feet dangling above the ground, clutching her elephant to her chest like it was a shield. Her voice was soft but clear. She talked about games Daddy made her play. About how he said it was a secret, how it hurt and she didn't want to go back. I had to bite down on my hand to keep from sobbing out loud. Mark's lawyer tried to twist everything. Said kids imagine things. That maybe I put stories in her head. But then Dr. Patel testified. She spoke about Lucy's drawings, her nightmares, how consistent her stories were even when gently asked in different ways. How trauma leaves patterns. Detective Sarah laid out the timeline. The subtle signs. The phone calls. The drawings. The sessions. Each piece another stone on the scale, tipping it toward truth. When the judge finally spoke, I held my breath so long I thought I'd pass out. He looked at Mark. Then at me. Then down at his papers. Given the testimony, the corroborating evidence, and the child's consistent statements, this court finds grounds to remove all custody rights from the father pending criminal charges. Full custody is granted to the mother. It was like the air came back into my lungs all at once. Greg squeezed my shoulder so hard it hurt, but I didn't mind. I was too busy crying, clutching Lucy, whispering over and over, "It's over, baby. It's over. He can't hurt you anymore." Mark just sat there, red-faced, glaring at me, like somehow I was the monster. But I didn't care. Let him look. Let him rot. Because my little girl was finally safe. And for the first time in months, when I tucked her into bed that night, she fell asleep without clutching my hand until she dozed off. She just breathed. Easy. Free. It's strange how life can look the same, yet feel completely different. Lucy and I moved to a small town upstate. A modest house with a white porch and a yard big enough for her to run without fear. Every morning she feeds the birds outside. Her laughter rings through the kitchen while I make pancakes. Sometimes I catch her twirling in the living room, hugging that old elephant, singing to herself. Her nightmares aren't gone, not entirely. There are still nights when she tiptoes into my bed, curls up beside me and holds on tight. But most mornings she wakes with a smile. I started therapy to let go of the guilt. To learn that protecting Lucy now was what mattered more than punishing myself for the past. Sometimes I sit on the porch, coffee in hand, watching her chase butterflies. And a thought fills me so warm it nearly breaks me. We made it. Not untouched. Not without scars. But we're here. And that's enough.